UseEffect is a hook that allows you to produce side effects in your React component. Each React component has a lifecycle which you can monitor and manipulate during its three main phases: mounting, updating, and unmounting. As you can see here on this image, React has a render method every time our component mounts or updates. So with UseEffect, you're telling React that your component needs to do something after each render. So the basic use case for UseEffect is when you want to instruct your component to perform a side effect after each render. So if we have a look at the image again, we can see that this can happen after mounting or updating. React always guarantees that the DOM has been updated by the time it runs the effect. To highlight this, here I have a regular function with a console log and our UseEffect. Notice how when we render the component, our UseEffect function gets ran after our regular function. So React reads the code, puts the UseEffect in memory, then runs the regular function, and after the component has been rendered, React runs our effect. In this example, we have a simple counter. It increases the count every time we click it, and in the UseEffect we are producing a side effect that changes our document title to the count variable after the component renders. So we can even see the small delay when the title updates. We also have what are called Dependencies Arrays. Dependencies arrays can be used to instruct React to only run the UseEffect function when a certain variable has been changed. So when I click this button here, the dependency changes, which causes the UseEffect to run. So React takes a look at the dependencies, and if it's not the same on the next render, it changes state and props in the UseEffect. However, if the value hasn't changed, it does not change state or props in the UseEffect. So notice how on the first click, we do run our UseEffect. But since we are not changing the value on the second click, the UseEffect does not run. You can also leave your dependency array empty. This tells React that your effect does not depend on any value from props or state. We can see that in this example here with a timer in our UseEffect function. We want our timer to run once, 1 second after the component mounts. To fix that, we can add an empty dependency array. So if we pass an empty array, the props and state inside the effect will always have their initial value. The initial value being the value it gets after mounting for the first time, which is 1 in this example. In this example, I'm getting the coordinates of my mouse click, I set my coordinates here, and in this UseEffect I have an event listener every time I click in the document. The event listener runs getCoords. So with React you can clean up your effect by returning a second function within your UseEffect function. This is a common use case where you're adding event listeners to your application. And if you don't remove those, it results in bad memory consumption, which slows down your application and causes memory leaks. So React performs the cleanup before our next effect and on unmount. That is why we can see in the console that we are logging this cleanup before we log the effect again. If we remove the cleanup function, we will very soon find our application in a mess. What happens is that we are piling on event listeners, and each event listener is adding an extra event listener and so on.